You know, Humes began with certain very serious disadvantages, but these they overcame with wonderful ingenuity. Not having a fang or a claw, or even a whistle worth talking about.
That's Vincent Price in the 1981 movie The Monster Club, which also starred John Carradine and Donald Pleasance. In the film, Mr. Price plays the part of the vampire Erasmus, who runs a secret club for monsters.
In the past 60 years, Humes have exterminated over 150 million of their own kind. No effort has been spared to reach this astronomical figure, and the methods that they have used must demand our unstinted admiration. During their short history, you know, Humes have subjected other Humes to death by burning, hanging, decapitation, strangulation, electrocution, shooting, drowning, crushing, racking, disemboweling, and other methods far, far too revolting for the delicate stomachs of this august assembly. Not to say anything about nuclear power.
The multitudinous methods for murder enumerated by Mr. Price's character in this long-forgotten B-movie were delivered with a gusto that was unmatched by his co-stars. Of course, this was by no means the only second-rate splatter script that was elevated by the St. Louisian. His stellar performances in the genre were how Mr. Price earned his illustrious reputation as the king of horror in the first place. But today I ask, why? An easy assumption espoused by many of my more soft-headed Ivy League colleagues suggests that Mr. Price was attracted to these projects solely for the paycheck. In their minds, Vincent was just another struggling actor trying to eke it out in Hollywood. I believe, however, that there was something greater at play, that there was something in the actor that drew him to the genre, and the genre to him. It is my belief that the trauma Price experienced during the production of A Taste of Vincent permanently altered his psychological profile, drawing him ever closer to the macabre material that made him famous and pigeonholed his acting career. Hello, good listeners, and welcome to Deadliest Meal. I'm author, documentarian, and film historian Denise Didak, and you're listening to a new podcast about the most cursed TV show ever produced. A cooking program that was so blighted, bedeviled, and deadly that the studio behind the project tried to bury it forever. For the past 10 years, I've been documenting what happened to Vincent Price in the summer of 1964. And over the course of this podcast, the world will finally come to know the real story of the Prince of Terror in an effort to save this American cultural treasure from the dustbin of history. In Chapter 5, Mr. Price sails the sunny shores of Greece with business tycoon Aristotle Socrates Onassis, who entertains the actor, gourmand, and art connoisseur with anecdotes from a life well lived. That is, until a new calamity tests the team, which expands to include one mystery man. Will another member of the crew fall victim to the curse of the Furies, or is something else at play? When we last left the actor in Morocco, Mr. Price was grasping at straws to try to make sense of the calamitous production that he was contracted to host. He also seemed to blame his executive producer for the spate of surreal tragedies, but the mind is a curious thing. My dad, Dee liked to joke, denial ain't just a river in Egypt. I mention that here not to point out the obvious, namely my father's banal sense of humor. The old man was a studio lawyer for half a century, and that sort of slavish dedication to corporate drudgery will drain the fun out of just about anyone. No, I mention it here because, though cliché, the epigram seems apropos of Vincent's mental state after returning to the Mediterranean. For one death can be explained, even two, but 5? With that in mind, please enjoy Fury of the Furies.
Today I mean to shake up your family's boring old taste buds with the recipe gleaned from the 5th port of call in our culinary odyssey. the cradle of civilization itself, the Hellenic Republic of Greece. A maritime nation since antiquity, the mountainous landscape of the mainland and the extended coastline of the country forged the Greeks into some of the world's finest seafarers. Standing next to me is the owner of the world's largest privately owned shipping fleet, Aristotle Onassis, who was kind enough to lend us the use of his Christina O, his 325-foot luxury yacht, from which we recently disembarked. Which beautiful island is this, Ari? And may I call you Ari?
Of course. I'm not surprised at your confusion, Vincent. Greece is composed of over 6,000 islands and islets scattered in the Aegean Sea, of which only 227 are inhabited. This is Crete. It is the largest of the Greek islands and has a longer history than anything in the mainland.
The first inhabitants of Crete, the Minoans, predate the golden age of Athens by some 500 years. While the Minoan people may be more famous for their labyrinths, they are magicians in the kitchen as well. To gain a better understanding of their Bronze Age civilization, we have come here to the Palace of Knossos.
If I may, Vincent, it's Knossos.
Knossos.
Yes, that's right.
To represent that proud culinary heritage, we will prepare, is it moussaka?
Moussaka is how foreigners say it, Vincent. You should say it like a Greek. Moussaka.
Moussaka. It's a dish that sounds far more intimidating in any language than it is, I assure you. Can you tell our American television audience more about this delightful recipe, Ari?
Made with layers of eggplant and ground beef, it is a construction worthy of Daedalus himself.
Essentially, it's like a Greek lasagna.
It is a very filling and typical dish for us here. And speaking of filling, this is what Arthur Evans did to the ruins of this palace when he discovered it in 1900. I do like the colors, though.
The renowned English archaeologist Arthur Evans acquired the ruins around the turn of the 20th century. With the help of local laborers, Evans uncovered a collection of over 1,000 interlocking rooms and employed a father and son team of Swiss artists to do the controversial restorations we see here. While some of their restorations were based on archaeological evidence, others, including some of the best-known frescoes from the throne room, are now thought to be total artifice without any cultural merit, according to critics. In fact, today, some even question if this was a palace at all.
The oldest city in Europe remains shrouded in mystery. This is true. During the English's excavations, they found so many images of the double-headed axe, or the labyrinth, that the Palace of Knossos also became known as the Palace of the Double-Headed Axe. In Greek mythology, however, the palace was most infamous for its labyrinth, an elaborate, confusing structure engineered by the legendary artificer Daedalus for King Minos of Crete to hold the Minotaur, a monster with the head and tail of a bull and the body of a man.
If my memory serves me correctly, Ari, the Minotaur was ultimately vanquished by Theseus, the great hero of Athens, where we will cook moussaka at the Parthenon and indulge in a feast worthy of the gods.
So about that, Vincent, we can't afford more than an hour in the Parthenon, but we do have some other ruins to stand in for it on the island of Scorpios.
Scorpios. That name sounds familiar.
You own it, Ari.
So I do. I do not remember giving permission to film there.
Can we have permission to film there?
Do you take me for a Malaka, Mr. Otmanson?
Please, it's not like you need the money. Or maybe you do, now that your competitor, Stavros Niros, is a billionaire with the world's largest fleet of petroleum supertankers.
That carpetbagger exploited the Suez Canal crisis for profit. Do not speak his name again in my presence.
So are you going to sign a release or what?
I will give permission for your crew to film on my island, Mr. Otmanson, since we have nothing but love and appreciation for all visitors. However, I must warn you that the locals believe there's a curse on the temple ruins. They say that it's been inhabited by Furies ever since they chased the Kingslayer there and tormented him to death. But we are not superstitious and we will meet you there.
The Furies being, of course, the Greek goddesses of vengeance, who today it is believed were originally conceived of as ghosts of the murdered. Sorry to cut in, Ari, but I saw Carl's eyes glaze over.
So that's a wrap then. And Vincent, Don't forget that I am riding shotgun in the van back to the dock.
Fine, Carl. We'll see you back on the yacht. Ari has something to show me. Fritz, Dario, you can run along now.
Fritz has to wait for his key light to cool down before he can pack up.
And when was Fritz promoted to lead gaffer?
After the sudden resignation of our remaining American crew members.
Lynn and Larry will be missed, but I cannot fault their decision. Their families must come first.
You're certain you'll be all right on your own? I'm not sure what we would do if you were to meet with any ill fortune.
Your concern is duly noted. Now run along, Carl. The transport team is growing restless.
Such an old man, even for a Dutch.
You took the words right out of my mouth. Thank you for coming on such short notice and arranging this little rendezvous, Mr. Onassis.
Please, Vincent, continue to call me Ari. Any friend of Omar's is a friend of mine.
After all these years, I'm so glad we finally met. It's been a frightful trip, but I am told by the highest authority that you are a man who can make miracles.
Considering my debt to your country, this is the least I can do. To the throne room.
You there, sound man. Carl has said cut. There's no further reason to record.
Boss says record all the time when you are here.
Is that professional, Vincent?
Very few things are professional about this production.
They just don't want to miss anything you say, Vincent.
Or miss anything I should not say.
In Greece, we have Mati, the evil eye. It may just be a superstition, but someone can cast the evil eye onto another person out of envy and jealousy. Perhaps this is the source of your ill fortune. My yaya can perform a ceremony to cast away the eye and destroy the foul energy.
I do not wish to cast aspersions on your yaya, but I'm afraid we might need some more immediate assistance.
Dario, turn that recorder off. Spinario.
A wonderful voyage, Ari. I was impressed you knew the name of so many types of fish and if one could eat them or not.
There are many fish in the sea, and the true mariner must know how to survive on the open seas in the face of calamity and disaster.
I must also compliment the catering. The endless bowl of licorice was a touch of class.
You're welcome to all the licorice you'd like. No one on my staff can stomach it.
Well, I can't resist. That's why Pops nicknamed me the Candy Kid. I could be tempted into performing any number of tedious household chores by that black gold. There, he says it's my Achilles heel.
What is the meaning of this?
In Greek mythology, Achilles was the greatest warrior in the Trojan War.
I was familiar with the origins of the term, as I now am with the proverbial chink in your armor. But who is the stranger among us?
We met this gentleman in the throne room. He got us out of a dilly of a pickle. What is your name again?
Didi.
A man of few words, but much action.
And what is this pickle you speak of?
Some ruffians attacked us out of nowhere. One had a double-sided axe. Fortunately, Didi came to our assistance, and we were able to turn the tide on the goons. Now he has offered to provide us with security. Isn't that wonderful?
I'm afraid our budget cannot accommodate any further expenses.
There is no cost to you. The network heard all about the accidents on your production and sent me to protect their investment.
We are perfectly capable of protecting our cast and crew ourselves.
Apparently not, Mr. Rotmanson. Or else I wouldn't have had to dispatch 3 ne'er-do-wells whose understanding of hospitality was sorely lacking.
One of them looked very much like your light man, Fritz, whom I notice is currently in absentia. So Didi will have to take over today until we get a permanent replacement.
Please forgive my incredulity, Mr. Didi. But do you have a CV or a reference?
He has a letter from XPS Studios empowering him to do whatever he thinks is necessary to bring this production to completion. That's what's important.
But it's not fair.
The gods are nothing if not cruel.
You do not know who you're dealing with. But no matter, our plan will proceed accordingly. Our next location is the Temple of the Furies, where I want everyone to please be extra careful in case any spirits of vengeance are loitering in the area.
Speeding.
Moussaka is a labor of love, and love has many elements. The first is the meat sauce that you can cook over an open fire like we have here at the Parthenon.
Hit that again, but with less emphasis on Parthenon. It sounds like you're lying.
Scorpios is nothing like the Parthenon.
Parthenon's Marthenon. What's the big deal? The best bits were already looted for the British Museum anyway.
That may be the case, but I can't in good conscience mislead the viewers.
Americans can't tell one pile of rubble from another. We'll get an establishing shot in Athens and do the close-ups here. It's nothing different than what DeMille did in 10 Commandments.
Compare yourself to DeMille again, Carl. You can finish this episode without me.
Or perhaps now you can finish it without me.
What does that even mean?
Let him cool off while we warm this up. The meat sauce starts with a grilled onion. Then we add ground beef. Now, once your meat is cooked, add canned or cooked down tomatoes with beef stock and red wine. This cooks over a medium heat while you fry your eggplant. I love eggplant. There are some people who don't consider it at all, but shame on them. Alternatively, you can use zucchini or potato.
But you are forgetting the best part, Vincent.
Not forgetting, Ari, but saving it for last. The bechamel sauce is a decadent mix of milk, flour, butter, Romano cheese with egg yolks. You also need salt, white pepper, and a dash of nutmeg.
I would drain the vegetables on a paper towel with some salt before frying, and then layer it in a deep dish and bake it for an hour at 350 degrees.
An excellent suggestion. Shall we dig in?
I have other things on my mind, namely your producer. He seems to have vanished with all the crew except for the Italian soundman from hell that we can never shake.
It's a frequent occurrence, and one that never bodes well. Shall we go after them? The moussaka will keep, and you know every inch of this island.
The cache is secure. Pack up and move out.
Was that Carl on your radio, Dario? What the devil is he up to now?
We are to proceed to the next location. Boss will meet us there.
Athens, Parthenon, only take.
Many of you may recognize where I am standing. In ancient times, Athens, the classic city, was the height of literature, arts, and culture. In fact, for thousands of years, this was the center of the world, until the Persian armies of Xerxes I demolished it in 480 BC. After the country regained its independence from the Ottoman Empire in 1832, the Greeks named Athens their capital, even though it was merely some ruins surrounded by fields of sheep. Now the metropolis has regained its place in culture, art, and food, and ranks again as one of the greatest cities in the world.
Hold the smile for me, Vincent. And perfect. Then we'll cut to the foodstuff you shot yesterday.
And where were you, Mr. Producer? Are you responsible for the freshly dug holes in my olive grove that were reported by my groundskeeper?
There are other people on your island besides me, Mr. Onassis. And as to what I was doing, I was contacting the network to arrange a special surprise at our next location.
And what might that be?
You will know soon enough, Mr. Price. Just remember that even though you are the star of this show, you are not the only player, and that the Furies haunt those who harm their own kin.
Make yourself plain, Rotmanson.
Patience, Mr. Vincent. Now let's get some insert shots of the temple and call it a day.
And please cut that sound, Signor Dario. Greece has saved humanity once before by civilizing us all, and perhaps she can do it again. It is now apparent to me that the ghosts and spooks haunting us are ones of humanity's own making, and that we must disenchant them by any means necessary. Under the watchful eye of Aristotle Onassis, we made our plan. The millionaire shipping magnate and page 6 mainstay was on its face an odd choice for a guest, so it was a bit tricky to get Carl to agree to film with him. But Mr. Sharif was insistent on Ari's credentials, and eventually Rotmanson agreed to Onassis over his choice of Anthony Quinn, who was already busy filming a new comedy, Zorba the Greek. Mr. Onassis proved to be a lively co-host, although I do have lingering moral questions about his super yacht, especially given the austere state of the Greek economy. Regardless of his excess, Aristotle introduced me to the American, Didi, whose last name I didn't catch. Didi hinted there might be another purpose to this production than the creation of educational programming for the masses, and a more nefarious one at that. His theory was supported by an incident in the throne room where some ghouls who were serving on our crew attacked us. It was a strange place to run into an axe-wielding maniac, but this prediction has been anything but ordinary. Back on the yacht, Didi and I spoke at length about our next steps. Although there is some danger to my person, I asked to stay on the show in order to bring this curse to an end via a trap that we will spring at our next location. One spanner in the works is the sudden cancellation of our trip to Vienna to dine with Zsa Zsa Gabor. It would have been wonderful to see her and visit Schubert's birthplace, but Didi has assured me that XPS Studio will be sending in a new special guest who is specifically more suited to our location and higher purpose. With our final show on the horizon, I'm looking very much forward to getting back home to Mary and Vicky in Los Angeles. From the airport, we'll go straight to Dodger Stadium and sit behind home plate singing Take Me Out to the Ball Game with our laps full of hot dogs, Cracker Jacks, and cotton candy.
In this episode, it appears that the death of the light man in Greece was better received by Vincent than some of the production's previous fatalities. I don't know if it's because Mr. Price had a personal grudge against Fritz, is partial to Furies, or if he's just growing inured to the violence. Perhaps if we were in the same position, we would also care less and less as our friends and colleagues drop dead around us. As for Mr. Onassis, on October 20th, 1968, the Greek tycoon was married to Jacqueline Kennedy, the widow of U.S. President John F. Kennedy, on Scorpios, the private Greek island that played a major role in this episode. Prior to their wedding, Onassis' daughter Christina made it clear that she hated Jackie and believed she was cursed due to the assassinations of John and Robert Kennedy. Two events ultimately convinced the billionaire that his daughter was right about the former First Lady. The first event was the $500 million failure of Project Omega, a plan to industrialize Greece that the businessmen had developed with the right-wing military dictatorship that ruled the ancient nation from 1967 to 1974 with the support of the American government. The second event was the death of Aristotle's son Alexander in a plane crash in 1973. After these successive devastating personal calamities, Onassis concluded that Jackie was indeed cursed, and by 1975, the marriage was over. In light of my research, one must now wonder if the curse that affected the Onassis clan was actually caused by the production of this tragic program, and not by the former Mrs. Kennedy. How Vincent supposed the Furies made Fritz and two other men attack them puzzles me, as does the arrival of the mystery man, Didi, whose name, voice, and patterns of speech remind me eerily of my own father. In fact, if I didn't know better, I might have mistaken him for the same man. Then again, Didi is a common name, and the gods are nothing if not cruel is hardly original. Plus, my father would have never been capable of living a double life, as he was far too busy poring over contracts for XBS Studios. But I'll put a pin in the problematic father-daughter dynamic for now, since you're not getting paid to listen to my problems. Then again, you're probably not paying for this podcast, so I won't apologize for wasting your time, because I ought to get something out of this arrangement, since Lord knows my current compensatory package barely covers my cable bill. For the remainder of our show, we'll be looking for answers and also reading some of your letters on air. Here is one from Brenda S. from Decatur, Georgia, who says, "The spirits haunting this production are multinational corporations who will stop at nothing to bring all of Earth under one commercial banner. By gradually making the regions of the world less and less distinct, their ultimate aim is mind control and world domination through the homogenization of disparate cultures." Well, Brenda, I have to say that I disagree with your conclusion, but it's better than the one about Nazis. There are perfectly reasonable explanations for the audio that I hope to uncover in the season finale of Deadliest Meal. I'm Denise Didak. Thank you, and good night.
Deadliest Meal was created and written by Rory Owen Delaney and Matt Babb. Directed by Rory Owen Delaney and Matt Babb. Editing by Rory Owen Delaney.
Produced by Rory Owen Delaney and Matt Babb.
Sound design, sound mix, and music by Apostolos Papapostoiou. Bach Toccata and Fugue in D minor performed by Stephen Malinowski.
With performances by Wendy Weiner, Matt Babb, Mike Kazantini, Eliza Garantakis, Bobby Garofalo, and Rory Owen Delaney.
This podcast is a production of Man Bites Dog Films, LLC.